I'm going to show you how to make some good cheap customs out of the toys that utilize this farm set from John Deere. As you can see, you've probably seen a lot of videos of this. This shop is very popular. It's got opening doors, roof lifts off, you can store a lot of stuff in there, and it's fairly inexpensive. And if you get 2 kits of this, you can lengthen or shorten it however you want. However, it only comes in a big farm set with quite a few other farm toys. So we're going to show you what I did to utilize and get the most bang for my buck out of that whole set. So that's right, I customized. I took some of those toys and I made them into something else. So right here is the big money maker. It is the big 4-wheel drive that comes with that set, but it's kind of crappy. It comes on singles, no front weights, no details, no nothing. And it's kind of those cheap wheels that are held on that are hard to get off. So I put duals on it. Basically, I took another one of these that I got from a friend, and you can buy these separately or in some of those sets with 4 items instead of 1. But basically, it's the generic 4-wheel drive John Deere. Took my jeweler's saw and cut those wheels off. Then cleaned them up, threw them on this tractor. Now you're wondering, where's the little green tab that holds them on? Well, that's actually not there. It's just glued on wheel to wheel. Now I know it's not the strongest thing, but it definitely, for a cheap custom like this, wasn't worth me going through all the hassle to do something a whole lot nicer. Because at the end of the day, it is still a cheap tractor. If you want to take a more expensive tractor, like a replica play or something like that, then go the whole 9 yards. But with this, it's simply not worth it. However, those wheel weights, they make a world of difference. I'll show you how I got those. So this is the quad from that set, and comes with 4 wheels that you simply pop them off, then take something like a little screwdriver, run it through, and pop out the little centers that were the yellow rims. Then all I did was take the rims that came with this, that came with the set, and glue them into the center as some center weights that also cover those rivet holes. Next, I cut the weight off one of these tractors. Took the front weight, added it on there. It adds a little something extra, so it's not just plain Jane. On the top, we have a GPS. I built that using a small piece of styrene. You can use any plastic, and one of those gems from a diamond art set. My wife does diamond art, and there's plenty of leftover pieces that are just free for me, so I have hundreds to use. Simply glued it on there, painted up some John Deere green and some John Deere yellow, and it turned out pretty good as a GPS that didn't cost me a dime. Next, took my chrome pen, painted up some details on the exhaust and intake, and on the stairs and lights, and this guy is ready to go, ready to put on the air drill. Over here, did a very similar thing. Took this guy, and that set actually comes with 2 of the exact same tractor, which is perfect because then I have all the wheels to put front and rear duals on this guy. So that's exactly what I did. I cut the wheels off this guy and the rims and the front weight, and I simply glued them to this. Now I thought about doing center weights, things like that, but then I'd have to make something, and this tractor simply wasn't worth that amount of work. So I took the leftover little piece that I cut off, found it on the floor, stuck it in there and glued it in just to cover up that hole. This hole doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, it's still a cheap tractor. I'm just trying to use up those parts because I already bought them, because I bought that set. Then, as you can see, did another GPS. This one I actually did first, and it turned out really nice. Then took my chrome pen, painted the exhaust. You can see my finger rubbed that off a bit, so I need to touch that up. Unfortunately, the exhaust on these tractors is attached to the cab, which is really annoying, but basically got in there as best as I could, painted that up to show a little bit of difference in there and have it shown off. Then painted the steps and rear lights a little bit, and this tractor turned out pretty good. Next, I used the rule that two things put together is always going to increase the value of one of those things, especially if the second thing that adds to that didn't really cost you to start with. So, took this disc ripper that came with the set. I have no use for it. I've got lots of other tillage tools. So, detailed it up. Basically, in real life, when one of those goes through the ground, it doesn't stay nice paint. It rubs that paint off and it's shiny metal. So, took a silver Sharpie, detailed that up. That I already owned, doesn't cost me a thing anymore. Pair it with this guy, it increases the value for when I'm selling it. Another bonus to this set is it had an anhydrous tank, which I was looking for a John Deere one anyways, that I could literally get free with whatever I was getting. Didn't really seem it worth it to spend money on something that I could get anyways. This is one of my favorite customs from the set. So I took that truck that had that dump box, which is cool. It does dump, it is functional, it is pretty nice. However, everybody has one of those. I want something different, something a little more useful. So I took this truck, shortened the frame, actually cut it completely off to make it a single axle, because it made a lot more sense for what I was going to use this truck for. Used a couple beads in the bottom so that these axles can turn freely through, and then took the back end of the truck that I had cut off. You can see the leaf springs there, glued that to the beads and the front, filled that all in with some styrene, and then put a little plate on the top. So now I have a pretty sweet truck that can haul a gooseneck or a bumper pull and be a toy hauler or a camper hauler or something like that. That is pretty beefy, pretty cool, bigger than the average pickup truck, a little more power, a little neat, and turned out pretty good, especially because I have these aggressive super singles on the front, and I took some duals that I had in my parts bin for the back. So it looks proper because it's a dually. It's only used to haul stuff or run things around in. And to be honest, if I had this truck in real life, it would be a load of fun. Other things I did to it, chromed up the steps, and then the whole frame and back end matte black. That's the biggest thing with trucks like this, or semi-trucks of any kind. I find in real life, a lot of the time, the frame is black and the cab is a different color. So when you get these cheap trucks that are all one color, this makes a world of difference, just painting up half of it. Over here, have the truck and trailer that came with it. We'll talk about the truck first. So the wheels are actually really nice, rubber wheels. You can take them off, chrome up the rims a little more. They're really great. Personally, I don't think it's worth this plastic truck. It has a metal base, but the cab is plastic. If you repaint it, you're gonna have to paint all that glass in there. So it's not worth the repaint. Plus it's already white, which is fairly common and desirable anyways. And you have all these Ford signs and F-150 and everything like that. So I'm like, well, what wheels do I have? So took some wheels from some kind of hot rod that are kind of this purplish blue, big huge rims, stuck that on there. It's a pretty cool truck. Of course, it's not a farm truck. It's the kind of truck that some high school kid is gonna use. That was daddy's money, driving, and gonna be the coolest guy in the parking lot with those rims. So That's the best use of that, and then I can use those rims for something else that actually suits it a lot better. Then we've got the trailer. I have no idea why Ertl made it this ugly brown plastic, but I painted it silver. Turned out pretty good, put some DOT tape on there, kept the frame black, and then it didn't have a back door. So I made a back door. The hinge is honestly just a piece of wire with some rubber coating, so anything, basically it's a paper clip. Swings in and out. You've got a door for a cheap little trailer. Looks pretty cool being pulled behind any truck. My favorite part is the door handle is actually the rivet that was right through the whole thing. For some reason they put a rivet to hold things on. I don't think it's really necessary. It stays on pretty good to start with, but then again, this was a kid's toy designed for kids to play with and be rough with. So, cut that rivet out. Actually had to move the cab up a bit, put my jeweler's saw in there and cut. It was pretty difficult, but once I was able to get that out, I could take the cab right off, because I couldn't drill it out because these tires are in the way. So unless I take the tires off, I couldn't drill it. Anyways, left me with a nice little rivet head that could work as the door handle. So, paired this up with any other truck, it turns out pretty sweet. So yeah guys, basically I think I got pretty good value for that set. You have to buy the whole set in order to get the shop, and rather than just selling them for cents on the dollar or throwing them out, I was able to make some quick, cheap, affordable customs that are easy for anybody else to buy, but didn't cost me very much to make, so I can actually make a profit off them. And I already had them anyways. Turned in some pretty cool stuff with a big 4-wheel drive, the front wheel assist, both on duals, the disc gripper to add value to that, this awesome truck that turned out so good. Part of me's tempted to keep that, but I better sell it. And then this stock trailer and the pickup truck. Both turned out really good, not a whole lot of work, but easy to sell. And then a few little things like some of the wagons and wheels, that are already going to be used on my farm display. So yeah, that is how you take the set that comes with this shop that everybody wants and uses, whether you keep it this green and gray or whether you paint it. Now, you know ideas to use up all those other toys that came with it. Please let me know in the comments what kind of content you guys want to see. Thanks for watching.